I need a bigger monitor or put another monitor right over here so that like I'm looking straight there. But hey, we're live. Hi.
Good way to start.
Yeah, because right now it'd be like you just get the side of my face because I'm always looking at the other monitor because
There you go.
reasons. I don't know reasons.
Move your camera.
All right. It looks dramatic.
Yeah, move my camera. It's a Mac. It's like it's mounted right there.
All right, let's do our whole thing. Welcome to the virtual brown bag.
We do need a theme song. 100%.
Oh my God, that would be so good. Welcome to the virtual brown bag. This is our weekly kind of discussion for developers. Talk whatever they need to talk, whatever they want to talk about. Just a reminder on how this works. There are two links. The first one is meeting.virtualbrownbag.com. If you want to hit that up, you will be put in the observer room. So basically, you can watch and you can ask questions to the Q&A, but you can't participate otherwise. If you would like to participate otherwise, then please join our Slack and use a link there, which will drop you into participant mode. Again, keep in mind that everything we show and say is recorded, put up on YouTube. So don't show any work code or anything that'll get you in trouble, or have naked people in the background.
Yeah, because if I have to like edit it,
yeah,
I'll be very upset.
No, it's just going on YouTube automatically. It's streaming.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but I have control over it.
All right.
Which means if you put client code up there and you get removed, I can charge you money to remove it. Right? Right?
Will charge money.
May or may not be blackmail, but blackmail's profitable, right? You make money that way.
Alternative revenue for the.
I like it. Alternative revenue. I'm going to file that under my LLC. Alternative revenue.
Hold on. I actually have a question I want to put for blackmail. So this whole ransomware thing that's been going on, where companies have been getting something installed that encrypts all their data, and then they're hit up for like a couple $1,000s to have it decrypted. Has anyone had a client that was hit by this recently, or at all ever?
No, but I've had I have my security friends, and I know that they've discussed how that type of stuff can happen, but I can't think of them mentioning any clients or anything that they've even run into. The most they had was like they validated everything's secure, everything's good, and then the security officer for them like opens some email or something, and it's like they get hosed, and it's like, don't open the email, like don't click the link, like you should know better, that type of stuff.
Well, and I mean, like, these days, how in the world does anyone get infected just by clicking a link? I mean,
they tell me horror stories about PDFs, dude. Like,
PDF.
that PDF is supposed to be like everyone thinks they're safe and stuff, but they were saying that, oh my god, no, it's bad. You can do all sorts of nastiness with them.
I wonder how the Chrome PDF thing works.
Yeah,
that should be perfectly sandboxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lady at my church managed to lock up both hers and her husband's computers, because I guess she decided that since she locked up her computer, the most sensible thing to do would be to go and install the same ransomware on her husband's computer. And so then she called me and was like, "Well, you'll fix this for free, right?" Well, no, that's not what I do.
She's conducting a scientific experiment. She was verifying that yes, that was the cause of the computer being locked up.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. Yeah, I was asking around if our sysadmin kind of, we probably have like 100 clients or something like that. If he'd heard, and he hadn't heard of it either. So maybe it's just not as prominent, at least in the United States, as kind of the media is making it seem.
My fiance's sister-in-law, she works for Blackwell, which is one of the largest publishers.
Oh, no. Like the contractor? The security contractor?
Not Blackwell, not Black. They are not a mercenary.
Oh, okay.
And they're not a private equity. They're a large publisher of textbooks in New York City. They're like one of the biggest. And we're just talking about computer stuff, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't really been able to access email for the last week." I was like, "Oh, why? Like, what's wrong with your computer?" She's like, "Well, it's not really my computer. It's everyone." So apparently, they had a ransomware incident that encrypted some mission critical stuff connected to the email server, which meant that we're talking about like 100+ employees in like their flagship office unable to answer any kind of email for like 10 days. It's like, yeah, who needs email, really?
Yeah.
Slack.
And did they pay it or?
Yes, they paid it.
Yeah.
I actually had a friend, this is the first I'd heard of the ransomware stuff. He had come to me about a year and change ago, and had been hit with it. So I suspect it's I suspect it's probably prevalent for just like normal users and consumers. I don't know if it's actually hitting the, like, you said like clients. I'm not sure like a lot of companies are seeing this problem, but I've definitely seen like normal people, for lack of a better phrase for it. On a related note, if you get a sample of files and things from them, like I think some of the ransomwares include like a text file that says, "Hey, by the way, all of your stuff is now garbled, but if you go to here, give bitcoins to this address, so on and so forth." If you get that on a USB stick from your friend, and he's like, "Hey, could you check this out?" Make sure he explains what's going on before you do that, and then this is actually a really good use for Raspberry Pis, because you throw it in the Raspberry Pi, and if it's malware that can deal with like Intel processors and ARMs, then they deserve to encrypt my files. Like, good on them. But otherwise, it's a good sanity check. Like, you have your little Raspberry Pi, it's air-gapped, it's not hurting anything. You check what you need. Unfortunately, I've since lost track of which USB key has all this garbage on it, and I didn't label it because I'm a bad person.
It's
kind of like Russian roulette when I go into my
Chris's house.
Yeah, don't pick up anything from my house.
Yeah. Where was that like video and pictures and that project I need? Oh, here, let me put this USB drive.
So just to be clear, everyone, by the way, should know that's a very common attack vector. Is you load up a worm or something onto a USB drives and then just scatter them around a parking lot. And people pick them up and like, oh, okay, plug it into, let's see what's on this, plug it into their computer. And if your computer has auto run, which thankfully they're turning off nowadays, but you can still get social engineered into it. That's it. That's how it happens. And if anyone watched that show, Mr. Robot, they even had a better one where a guy's handing out CDs on the street where to check out his band. The guy puts in his computer and infects him on there.
That's just wrong. That's nasty.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Well, and other stuff, a little more uplifting. I know we talked a little bit ahead of time, but George, you want to talk a little bit about the Bar Camp New Orleans conference?
Oh, yeah. We are, well, I guess it's technically announced, but let me just make sure.
It's announced
I know
now. It's announced now.
So it's announced. It's announced. It's just the website isn't up. So here, there's no website up yet, so I'm not going to say it.
You've been doing it for every year for a while, right?
I know. It's barcampnola.com. This is a conference we've been doing in New Orleans every single year for the last 9 years. This year it's going to be on July 16th and probably the 17th. We're actually still discussing about what happens with day 2. The format, it's an open conference, so the format is that basically people show up. We have a big board set up, and if you want to talk about something, you put it on the board. We've gotten really, really awesome talks about it in the past. So Chris Coyer from CSS Tricks has come down at one time. It just tends to be a pretty awesome conference. A couple hundred people there. So the website will be up by the end of this week. By the end of this weekend, because I think we have a hack day on it on Sunday, and then we're going to introduce it on next week. So it's a really, really fun conference. Typically on the second day, I'm not sure if we're going to do it yet because we've had a lot of changes in how we organize it. But we have some sort of project day. So again, anyone's been a lot of fun. If you have a company and would like to sponsor, contact me. We are looking for sponsors. It's a maximum $500 donation. And if you just want to come, you are absolutely welcome to come. So it's going to be July 16th. It's a lot of fun.
Here, time out.
Yeah.
Why do you have a maximum donation? That doesn't make any sense. Like if someone comes up and be like, "I want to give you $50,000," you're like, "No, only 500."
That's true. That's correct. No, it's a small community conference. We don't want anyone to outshine anyone else. And over our limited accounting skills, after above $599, you have to report it to the IRS. Under $599 sounded really scammy, so it's 500.
All right.
That is. You think we haven't had talks about this? We have.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, getting a donation and then paying tax. When someone's the sponsorship like Space City, and then you have to pay taxes on it, and then you have to pay the fees or whatever. That kind of sucks because you're just like, the money is supposed to be going to help people.
Exactly. Yeah. So we just.
I guess indirectly it is helping people, but that's sort of a long process. All right. So other things, Joe. I know we were talking earlier. Let's jump back to it. But you mentioned one of your projects you're using. I think it was a Dapper.
Yep.
And so, what is Dapper? And
so
give us a little.
Yeah, Dapper is a micro ORM for .NET, developed by the guys who did Stack Exchange, and basically it's just a really simple way to write SQL and get yourself a POCO out of it, and it's just super fast. And with the base Dapper library, I think it's still limited basically to gets. I don't think they've updated Dapper, the basic library, to do updates or inserts or anything like that. But there's contribs out there. I think Stack Overflow even did a contrib that they use for inserts and updates. But the basic idea is just, hey, if you need to read something and read lots of data really fast, then Dapper is a good way to get it done. The advantage it has over Entity Framework or in Hibernate is that you have complete control over the SQL that's being sent in, and so you know that it's it's not doing any kind of weird delayed joins or anything weird like that. It's completely under your control.
And when would you use Dapper over just the ADO.NET type stuff? Why would you?
I prefer Dapper over the typical ADO stuff just because it provides the easy conversion to a POCO. A lot of people have done their own versions of ADO to POCO at this point, so it's not that huge a deal. It's just you don't have to rewrite it for every project, and you just give yourself a model and give yourself a query and say, hey, do a query based on this model, and it gives you back either a list or an IEnumerable of that particular model.
Yeah, I would say that the only reason that I can think of to use ADO.NET directly anymore would be if you needed a data set or like a connected data set, or you needed like streaming data readers. So in those very specific cases, use it. In all other cases, I would say use Entity Framework or use Dapper. And I mean, Dapper is a great like just kind of way to interact with a database. It's a little bit lower level. That's lower level than Entity Framework, but not as nasty a syntax as ADO.NET is.
Yeah, it lets you avoid a lot of the plumbing that ADO.NET throws at you, but it just kind of gets you to a lower level than Entity Framework. It's quite a bit faster if you're doing a heavy read. I don't know how it compares as far as doing writes if you're doing like a bulk insert.
I mean, it's still basically the same. Writes are going to be always a problem, especially bulk inserts, because it's just you've got to send a lot of stuff to the server.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're doing like millions of rows, you might even want to come up with a different strategy, like write a file or something like that.
Right.
Use something specific to that data provider. But it's pretty awesome. I like it. I use it a lot.
Yeah, I guess it came out after my day in there. But of course, nowadays I start thinking about, I've been doing Rails now a whole lot longer than .NET. It doesn't feel that way. And then I was talking to the IronYard group, teaching about like perpetual learning, how it always goes. I realized that the oldest thing they're teaching there is Rails. And I was like, that just blows my mind, because the Rails still feels like just that new guy that you have to justify your existence. And it's really like, man, he's an old veteran now. Like, been around for a while. Because compared to Node, and it'd be fine. Like Node is adopted other places really easily, but I guess it's because JavaScript's been around for so long that it's easy to be like, yeah, but it's JavaScript.
Oh.
Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, right.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
The one thing I wanted to try doing today was mess around with HyperDev, but apparently they're like down. And
what? HyperDev right now is down?
Yeah.
Well, about every other time I refresh them, they say they're too popular and they're over capacity.
What's a HyperDev?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, sure. HyperDev is a fancy way to see a loading screen. See, it just sits there. And it's
nice.
some wonderful art. But yeah, who wants to do the song and dance with HyperDev is? Because
You do it.
You can do it, or I can do it.
We'll just do it a team. We'll tag team this thing.
Go for it.
Yeah. So you know how Joel and the crew likes to come up and they just go, "Hey, we identify this business. We're going to make this new thing," and
Joel Splonsky.
Yeah, Joel Splonsky.
Of Trello and
Trello.
Stack
Overflow, all that.
Yeah.
And Discourse, right? Forum thing.
No, that's just
Atwood.
Yeah.
That's just Atwood. Okay.
Splonsky isn't involved.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just assume.
It's like yelling.
So I made an ass out of me, assume things. Yeah, their idea is have crew reduce the friction from my point of view of creating a developer environment. And so what you can do here is they'll show if this thing was not high. It's like you have your back end and front end completely JavaScript Node-y, and it's all set up, and you just immediately start coding. And it's like it's server, it's live. There's like how do I deploy? It is deployed. And source control, where you're going, you don't need source control. and so it's just you just code and do your Node stuff, and it lets you bring in other packages. I assume you can bring in other packages. I think they said that.
To me, it feels a lot like JS Fiddle, but more refined and more useful.
I can see that. I was related to me as a lot like Meteor, but I think where Meteor was lacking or more black box, is a little more open. But I was like, I don't know who would build app in it, but I think that's a good point, Joe. I think as a JS Fiddle type thing, but more robust, I think it would shine there.
It's almost like a combination of JS Fiddle and Google Docs, where you can give somebody a link and the two of you can start working on a project at the same time, or 10 of you at the same time. So it's kind of like Google Docs in that. But then you start seeing things happening immediately, so it's kind of like JS Fiddle and that. So it's kind of interesting.
I am skeptical about this. Maybe I'm just being grumpy.
I was skeptical about Trello, but I was wrong.
I don't know that I would use it for a production app, but I might be interested in using it to spitball some things.
So the experience is basically that you're typing stuff up, it's auto-refreshing. As you're typing, you can have multiple people come in, they type, and so on. Kind of my point that I've had, it really does, it's a slightly easier version of Cloud9, which is already very, very, very easy, so I don't feel like they're being so revolutionary.
It's Zach. We're here.
Oh yeah, there you go. So everyone can go on there and code, and I mean, yeah, it's nice. It's rendering Markdown for you. Actually, you should. How do you get your site preview? Yeah, you actually have to.
That's what I'm looking for. What's this thing do?
You can send out links, right? You want to throw a link out in the chat?
How do I send out a link?
You click show to see your
Oh, there we
site, wherever show is.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. I'll put it out there.
Yeah, and that's nice. It gives it a URL and so on.
Now we can
And
all
what-
learn to write JavaScript. It'll be great.
Yeah, nothing will ever go wrong if you write nothing but JavaScript. Let's see if I can get this thing set up so that we see both sides. 1 second. 1 second. Patience. Shazam!
Yep.
There we go. See, it updated. Yeah, so how would I even... So I guess you install a package. How do you even install... I can assume you can install packages. Dependencies. Right. Let's see. What do we want to install as a dependency? Without the command line, I'm confused. How do I install npm install save dev? What is something to install?
Bower?
No, good lord.
You just trolled hard.
JSPM.
Okay. Alright, let's see if I get that. But no,
Lodash. Lodash, that's useful.
okay, yeah, let's do Lodash. Lodash.
Nobody minds a little Lodash.
It's just
Regrettably, no.
something greater than that, right? Like my who's kind of terrible with this. What was this thing? Bad string. You're a bad string. What's wrong with that string?
NPM is like Christmas. I just kind of look forward to whatever I get.
Okay. No such file or directory. That should work, right? I'm not an expert at, but that should basically say, hey, anything above 0 is good. All right, we're learning. We're learning.
Learning is happening.
Yeah, Lodash. That's it.
Right. I didn't misspell it. And then also there, let's be very specific. We're gonna be like this version. Exactly.
Wait a second. Well, I mean,
Oh,
I
hey, look,
think
we
you're
can see it down
changing
here.
manually.
Yeah.
You're changing it manually, not.
Oh, I wonder if it doesn't like that.
Oh,
you get
is there? Oh, yeah.
How do we get a console?
Yeah, it's right here. Is the console right here?
But you can't
Oh.
type into it, right?
No.
No.
Oh, it says install success. Oh, right.
Yeah. All right, that's kind of nice.
Let's see. All right, so here,
Nope, not there.
what's a script tag here?
Well, yeah, you would have. I guess you'd have to include a script tag, but you have to include it into Node modules, and Lodash is not written for browser mode.
Right.
So
We put inside
require
here.
it.
So where do we send? Oh, here's the dreams. All right, so these dreams are being pulled from this array. So let's guess what the Lodash function is there like a first or anything?
Underscore dot. What is it? I'm sure they all exist.
First.
Underscore dot first, and then you can pass in a second parameter, I believe, for how many of them.
Okay. So let's go here.
Or underscore dot head, underscore dot tail. You know.
This is where JavaScript messes you up because it's like send dreams, but dreams is down there, and it's like, oh crap, it's asynchronous, it's messing me up. All right, so what's
Ruby would
actually?
still have that same issue, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we wouldn't be all one file. I think maybe that's what's messing me up.
Well, no. In Ruby, this would be a class, which would
Yeah.
look exactly the same.
Everything
It just would
would-
have the word class in it.
Classy.
Do they say what their stack is?
Yeah. So they're running a VM. I don't remember what they said, what kind of VM it was, but
We could find out.
yeah, he wrote a blog post about it.
Oh, you like that? CloudFront tells me no. Oh, there we go.
It's just a generic VM running Node, is what he said. All right.
Let's see if that's even working here, right? Hi. So when it auto refreshes, but it doesn't look like it gives a full post back, right?
Show us your dreams.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right. But that shouldn't work. Because it should be oh, this is the root. Or is it? Oh, and I guess let's figure out what the hell this thing's doing. All right. So we go here. We have this. We're pulling in jQuery.
So just FYI, y'all can join this this project if you click on the link I posted, and if Jonathan will click the "Can I join" button and invite.
There you go. Oh, I have to hit an invite button, or
Chris,
Wait, I think
like
you got
that.
us.
I think I did it right. Invite to join.
Yeah.
Wait, say again?
If you see what Chris posted in the chat,
Yeah.
that would
Oh, I think this is
That was
why
my solution earlier.
it's broken.
Oh, you're broke.
That's what's going on. Why aren't you working?
All right.
You're too popular.
I mean, I'll say very similar to a lot of the stuff I've seen from Cloud9. Cloud9 is a little more of a learning curve in that it aims to be a full IDE. But it's also a lot more powerful in that it gives you a console, so you can git push and git pull and push up to GitHub and so on. As far as now, this will give you a nicer URL, but Cloud9 will still do that. You just have to pay money to keep your VM open in perpetuity. So I mean, if you haven't tried it, I mean, I know people that just work in Cloud9, like that's their working environment. So I don't know. I don't see. HyperDev is a little lower barrier to entry, but I don't see a lot of what they're doing that's new that isn't being done by other stuff. Plus, Cloud9, you can do all sorts of environments, not just Node.
Well, are there other environments besides Node?
Yeah, I know.
Welcome conversation with every Node person ever.
I know.
But you're not coding JavaScript. Why would you not code JavaScript? I don't understand.
What do you mean you're not coding JavaScript?
But that's the same language on the front end and the back end.
Hey, no. There's a world outside Node. There's also ES6. Both ends.
So here's what Cloud9 looks like. I mean, like I just started a Node app right there. There we go. That looks like that. I actually don't even know what happens if you run.
How's this compared to Nitrous IO? Like, what would you compare it to Cloud9?
Nitrous is an alternative to Meteor, isn't it?
No, like it's an editor, and like you have a VM and stuff, and it looks a lot like that.
Okay. I mean, I don't. Yeah, there we go. So.
Let me Google difference.
Yeah, I thought Nitrous IO was the one that was Meteor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they don't have Phoenix yet. Oh.
But yeah,
no,
as a VM or whatever, yeah.
Oh wait, but this isn't like in the. Is this in the cloud?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a thing called coding apparently. Starts with a K.
I did see that. That one's very.
Oh, come on.
That one's very focused about actually being a Linux VM. So Cloud9 is focused about being a IDE that you can work on in the cloud. Like you can, it's got a built-in debugger that you can just use and works really well. But I don't know. Cloud coding, I tried. I started up. And I was like, there just isn't like a ton that I would use this for.
I love that they're working on building Pied Piper.
Yeah.
I want to say it was Cloud9, but I've got a friend who actually, like, the first year of his company was just working in Cloud. It was either Cloud9 or Nitrous, one of the two, because they're some kind of similar.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. The code school that we have locally, I mean, they're using Cloud9. I think even into like the full immersion course. I think at some point, so it's like the equivalent of a Hack Reactor course. At some point, I think they switch to their environment, but they don't necessarily force it.
Yeah.
So did they do Node at your school?
They do. Well, they start with the initial boot camp is all browser, and then the people who progress to the immersion course, it is Node.
I mean, all browser.
It focuses more on the basics of JavaScript and etc.
Okay, so like just like like homework would be like changing color of a button or selecting different HTML elements, or what's?
No. I mean, I think like their final project is more like, so they get they're already given a project, like they clone a project from Git, which when you hit run, it already has a JSON feed that returns some products. But then they are going to build a UI which actually displays those products, has filters on those products, can aggregate data from those products, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of those. Like, what do you think in terms of? I guess I could talk to more people about, because some of them have just straight up, this is the program you're going to do, and then the others have, I guess we're talking like this staggering progressiveness associated with it. Like, okay, start here, then if you keep both us, you keep on learning more and more things. I wonder what the feedback has been on the students. Or
what do you mean?
Like, is it like, to me the instinct would be like I think the ones that are progressive I would feel better with, right? Like they, because even if you're like, I'm going to learn Rails, like we still need to learn HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So like getting them already started through that and then moving on the Rails would seem like the better strategy, as opposed to you start learning the basics of Ruby maybe.
Okay, I've got to drop off. I've got another call. Sorry.
Joe, thanks for joining us, man.
See y'all later.
I don't think. I think you need a balance of the two. So I think starting with HTML and CSS, it's gonna work for a very specific type of person who's very interested in making websites, which is not the majority of people. The majority of people that I've seen, that I've interacted with, are interested in creating either video games or creating full-on applications and knowing how this stuff works. So, I mean, HTML and CSS is not hitting. It's not hitting any of those items for the people, for anyone. Right. So, my preference actually is when you start, be in a completely separate environment and learn the basics of some programming. So I really like how the Khan Academy Intro to JS course, the basic structure of it. I don't like, there's a lot of specifics with it that I have a problem with, but it's still the best structured thing that I've seen, where I think we talked about this last time, where you're starting in processing, where it's basically processing JS, but it's JavaScript, but you're coding processing, so you're drawing lines of rectangles and so on, but you get something immediate visual, and you're doing that. But I mean, like, because otherwise, like, I mean, how much HTML and CSS do you want to teach someone? You could easily drown them in it. And it makes no sense honestly, to jump around that way, like, just logically. All right, you do HTML and CSS, and then you jump to JavaScript, and you're like, well, why do we have the HTML and CSS stuff? You can just build everything up with like React or something like that at some point. I don't know that it makes a lot of sense. I don't know that it engages people that well to go in that direction.
Okay, fair point. Yeah. Just new perspective, I guess, on the stuff.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about all this.
Yeah, I think about it a lot too. That's why.
Yeah.
You're thinking like, how do we teach people how to do this stuff? Some other stuff I want to share a little bit. I shared a little bit, but I guess go there as this with Chris here. Sharon. So Phoenix Lobsters is something that Chris and I work on every Thursday between 2 and 4, and we're building lobsters. Chris, why don't you do the song and dance?
Oh, sure, I'll plug it. So I'm betting all of you are kind of familiar with Reddit of some variety. And then if you take Reddit and I guess it's already in San Francisco, but if you like move it out to where there's even more VCs and everybody feels warmer and fuzzier about entrepreneurship and that whole wonderful thing, and you give it this really garish orange paint job, you get Hacker News. And for a while, Hacker News was kind of a cool guy, but time goes on, and it's drifted more into the entrepreneurial, like, I don't know what the rating on this broadcast is, so like, I have to say some nice things about it, but I have some descriptions I would love to use, but I don't want to do them. Anyway, so Lobsters is this kind of, it's a more tech-focused version of Hacker News, and it's addressed a lot of the moderation concerns and a lot of the policy concerns. It's got a tagging system, which is very useful, so you can actually go and, as an example, for the last week, there's been this kind of ongoing tire fire involving Systemd. And they finally added a Systemd tag so everybody can just filter that out in case we don't want to hear everybody complaining about Systemd again. For better or for worse, it's like a whole thing among some people. And it's a very friendly, it's a very technically focused site. It's got around 5,500 users right now. The content, like the signal to noise ratio, is still really good. Anyway, suffice it to say, I like the site. I hang my hat there. And when I decided to try to find a kind of simple project to learn, like Phoenix or something, I was talking with JB about this, and it was like, oh, hey, like this is a simple news aggregator site. We already have a prototype like right there. Let's just make a monkey copy of it, but just implement it in Phoenix and Elixir instead of in Ruby on Rails, which is what the current site is in. And so JB and I went through and we did a discovery process on the first day, looking through and kind of identifying all the major site features we wanted to copy, talking about how they interacted. And that was actually a fun process for anybody who hasn't gone through discovery yet on the site. It was actually really rewarding for me to kind of sit down and be like, oh, like this is how JB approaches that. This is how other people start like breaking out the functionality of a site and kind of getting in that headspace of, hey, you asked for people to add stories. Well, what about when people remove stories? Oh yeah, when they remove stories. Okay, well you remove a story. What happens to other things? And really learning that process of digging down and kind of exploring the implications of design decisions. It's something I think all of us have run into at one point or another in our lives, but it's kind of fun to step through when nothing's on the table. And so we've just started stepping through that and implementing it in Phoenix. So we've gone and gotten, at this point, a user system working so you can log in. You can register an account and you can log in. This week past as my homework, I went on and I got a story submission system working so you can submit a story with a URL and a description that gets converted from Markdown into HTML. We'll probably need to put limits on that because that'll be disastrous pretty quickly. And at this point, JB, do you know what our next features are going to be? Have we picked that out yet, or is it?
I don't think we've. I know one thing I want to do is test the web page. We made the web pages for sign in and so forth, but we did not do any tests for like. We have the test for the action. We have tests for API endpoint if we were using API endpoint, but we did not test like integration tests in terms of I filled out this form and I clicked this button and this is what worked.
Yeah, the story test coverage needs to be improved as well. That was just kind of a spike I did Sunday night, and I felt bad about it. But we need tests.
We do have tests, but like we need to put a little more discipline. We're also doing documentation, which is big in Phoenix. So like it's definitely like the goal isn't to build the site because clearly the site already exists. The goal is to go through the process of building the site and doing it in Phoenix and trying to establish best practices. And
so where is this running right now?
Oh, it's not live anywhere.
Oh God, no.
Okay, so lobster.rs, you're just cloning it.
Just cloning the crap
Straight
out.
monkey copy.
Yeah. And so so we just meet Thursday 2 to 4 and get with other people. Like if you want to learn Phoenix, this is a way to do it. It's definitely we've had several people join, and we want to start getting more people because people are interested in it. And it's definitely low stress, low key. We're joking around, and we have plenty of stuff to code. And it's just 100% coding too. Like.
Put a link in the virtual brown bag Slack when you do it too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Join it if I can.
I am recording it, and I will start publishing more stuff. They are live on my YouTube channel, but I'm gonna start trying including these more like in blog posts and maybe figure out somewhere on this page. But like the goal is to as we do it, we record it so that. For posterity's sake, I guess. I don't know. Some people can't join live, but then they're like, hey, I want to put this on and watch stuff. I don't know.
Long road trip, put it on for the kids in the back of the car in case they want to learn.
This is how you not code Phoenix. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd share. We're having a good time, and I'm trying to get more people involved in terms of learning Phoenix and Elixir. That way, it's easy, and yeah, and also I want to get people who actually know a whole lot of Phoenix and Elixir to come in and tell us that we're doing things wrong and how to make it better.
Yo.
But yeah, anyway, I wanted to share that.
All right.
I'm also doing. Have you ever heard of Advent of Code?
Advent of Code?
Yeah.
Is it like Advent?
Like
calendar
Christmas,
sort of thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
40
Exactly.
stations of the node.
Yeah, so I'm starting to do Advent of Code for
Whoa.
coding practice,
Whoa,
and I'm
what is
doing
that?
it in Elixir. And
That looks awesome.
so yeah, and again, I'm recording that and just talking through my solutions and so forth.
What are you using to record stuff?
ScreenFlow, and it's been pretty awesome. It costs $100, but let me pull up their website if I'm going to talk about them. I mean, Ben uses it for in a screencast, and I've also heard other people using it. And it does a great job for recording the video, but then also you can edit the video inside there, and you can also combine stuff. So here's the things I've had been pretty easy and pretty successful. Recording all of our sessions for like Phoenix Lobsters, then I was able to edit out like gaps and stuff. And like,
Yeah.
otherwise it's like, who wants to watch 2 hours of just of stuff? So I've tried cutting it down. Because now like one's an hour, so it's just an hour, guys. But with Advent of Code, I not only do I cut out certain gaps, like where I'm looking at something or reading about something, but like you can speed it up pretty easily. And for Advent of Code as well, like what I'm doing is I don't put any audio on. I just code. I just put on screencasting and just capture what I'm doing, and then I talk over it later. And I was able to do that no problem. So it's a lot for $100. To me, it was well worth the money, and I like it a lot. It's cool.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man.
Cool. Awesome.
You can directly upload to places, but I mean, who likes to directly upload to YouTube? Wait a second. This VBB directly uploaded to YouTube. No. So I wanted to do some editing for some of the other projects I'm working on, so that's why I screencast instead.
Yeah.
Do you know of any good non-Mac alternatives for that? I've got like some kind of open source broadcasting thing I used for a Ludendare thing, but I have no idea where I'd even start on the PC otherwise.
I don't know either. It's not perfect, but if you use OBS and did it like to Twitch, and then you could use their thing to edit. Twitch has a pretty good video highlighting. I mean, video highlighter stuff that you can edit clips down. You just won't be able to do as much stuff that I've been doing with ScreenFlow. And I don't know, but I can ask. I got a couple Slacks where there's some people that screencast it that might be on the PC. So let me ask that.
Cool.
So screencasts for PC. Step 1 by Mac.
I've got. Do we have something in the chat? Oh yeah, Seth says Cloud9 is awesome. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I've got a CSS thing that I could show.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I've been saying for a while that CSS is not all that scary anymore.
Well,
Not that bad. No, it's not that bad. So
I'll allow not that bad.
I don't remember if I demoed it before, but I showed in the past how to make tabs that are just with CSS only. So here we have something that's just CSS. But what we didn't have was any linking, any ability to link to it. So I finally sat down. I had this basic idea before. So if you notice that we actually have persistent state here. And if I refresh the
Are
page,
you sharing your screen? Because right now,
I am sharing my screen. Is it not sharing my screen?
no. For me, no.
Nope.
All right. No. Okay.
Sharing
Let's
a screen.
see.
Yep.
Sharing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
here we go.
Oh,
Here
that's
we go.
pretty green.
Here's the thing.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's so green. But so look, we get actually good styling of the tab. It's bolded if it's selected. We can
Your
switch.
definition of good styling is different than mine. But
We have styling. But like, look, if I refresh the
changes.
page, it actually goes to the advanced area right away. This is done solely with CSS. So the idea of behind this, just show this really quickly. The idea behind this is that so the top level where you have their tabs just lists the content area followed immediately by the tab content, and then just as many of those as you want, and the one that you want to show up by default needs to show up last. I'll talk a little bit about why that needs to be the case. Though if you remember my earlier explanation on this, you probably guess why. So the basic idea, so we use hashtag linking to link to directly to the sections. So once we do that, we can use the :target CSS in order to say, okay, basically what we do is we say all sections are going to be disabled, are going to be hidden by default. So you can see display none on all sections.
Oh.
Then any section, let's see, if you have, whenever any section that's targeted is going to be not hidden, then any section that follows at some point after a targeted section is going to be hidden. So basically, when advanced is shown, this section right here is going to be hidden when advanced is targeted because at some point follows it. You use a similar trick on the anchor links. Basically, you're going to say, I don't think we actually need the last of type, but basically you're going to say any anchor link is going to have regular, so it's not going to be bold by default. But if it's an anchor link that directly follows a targeted section, it is going to be bold. And if it's an anchor link that eventually follows a targeted section, it's going to be normal. And after that, and really those are the only rules that you need to do to deal with it at a basic level, unless everything else you need to support the scenario when there is no target. And basically, when there is no target, what you do is you put the thing that you want to be targeted, in that case, last, and then you can directly control, say that the last one should be shown, which will be, of course, overridden by the :target rule. And then you can just simply use, if you have the container as a flexbox, you can use CSS ordering in order to bump that to the beginning. So right here, we take it and we say, so I have my body, which is going to be a flexbox, and in there I'm going to put, where is it? Where's my order? Yeah. So so the last anchor element is going to be first, and so on. Also, you're going to use ordering to bump up all these anchor links, all the tabs themselves, to be first. And let's see. So they're going to be first. You're going to set wrapping in the container. So basically, and then you bump them all up to be first. And then you just say on the last one, and then just the actual tab stuff is going to have width 100%, which bumps it down to the next line, which is how you get that. So when it displays, it's going to display home, and it's going to display advanced, and then the sections, so whichever section is visible, and it's going to be 100%, which is how it fits there.
Can you do like an inspect element or whatever, and let's see the HTML?
Sure.
Like,
I mean, well, no, the HTML is exactly what you just saw.
oh, okay.
So you can't. But
Do you have a Firefox available?
this should work in Firefox. Let's see.
If you could throw it into the 3D view, that might be kind of interesting to look at.
Nightly. Probably.
This is very cool, by the way. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, CSS is like the trick is once you realize that CSS can actually store state, you could do a lot of stuff. This is one trick with the colon target. The other trick that you can use is if instead of anchor elements, this is what I had shown before, instead of anchor elements, you use input type radio for these, then you can style everything that's after the colon checked.
Interesting.
Which works well, but you don't get linking. Then you don't get linking otherwise. Firefox, you want to pull this up?
It's thinking about it.
Yeah, it's trying to decide whether it's a good idea or not. That's a little strange.
Baffling, even.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone else wants to pull this up in the meantime.
Yeah, can you throw that link in?
Sure.
Out of a sort of curiosity.
Yeah, you can pull that up and
Wave
share
it to
your
myself.
screen. Yeah. Pull it up, share your screen, because I haven't actually done the 3D view mode in forever, so I don't actually know how it works. I don't remember how it works.
All right.
See how it works, George, is that most of the time web pages are in 2D. But see, what it does is it shifts it slightly and it puts it in 3D.
3D!
That's how it works.
You're killing me. You're killing me. Which? Sorry, I've got to figure out which monitor is actually the right monitor. It's baffling. This looks exciting. I'll try.
All right, I have it. Okay, I have pulled up in the meantime. If anyone wants, I can share it again. All right, you got it.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So here we are.
So you want to hit that arrow, and the upper that arrow next to auto run JS just to pop it open into its own screen.
All the way to the right.
Right.
On the,
I'm blind. I am so sorry.
Right.
Okay. So first of all, collapse that big top bar X on the upper left.
Okay. Oh,
now on the upper right, you have a little arrow to point out.
Oh, the pop out.
Yeah,
that's the ticket.
All
So
right.
now
All right. Let's see if I remember how this works. Oh, come on! Don't make this weird, Firefox.
Activate 3D mode.
Yeah. See if I can. Because I remember seeing this being something I played with like 4 years, maybe 6 years ago.
I'm pretty sure we had a VVV back in the original one about the 3D thing.
Yeah.
This is amazingly
3D View, Firefox Developer Tools.
Oh, do we have
From
to
Firefox 47 onwards, 3D View is no.
There we go.
Oh, okay, you got it.
Yeah, maybe. Woo. All right.
It's pretty. Yeah.
So it's,
All right. Nothing much to see. Yeah. I mean, it's
all right.
exactly that.
I mean, that's cool. That means there's not like a lot of crazy stuff happening behind the scenes.
No, there's nothing. I don't even have any pseudo elements here. Yeah.
So I do have 2 questions though about it. One of them is how do I stop screen sharing? It's confusing. JP is like, why did I bring this guy on?
It takes a while.
So 2 questions. So first, I saw that you used the target. What was it? The target pseudo element?
Colon target, yeah.
And that just target the whatever's anchored on the page URL?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And I guess that's how people do like comment highlighting or whatever in a.
Exactly.
Okay, nice. Today I learned. And then the other thing I noticed was on the it was like min height VH. I don't recognize that.
Oh yeah. So that's a what is it? More recent CSS thing. It's vertical viewport height units. So 100 of them means all the way to the bottom of your viewport. So you know how 100% doesn't actually do what you want it to do? height 100 VH does exactly what you want it to do.
Nice.
Instead of fixing it, we're just
And there's also 100 VW, which differs slightly from VH, from percentage, because in percentage it's percentage of the container, whereas VW would be percentage of the viewport. So basically the top level width. So it's actually really nice. I had a thing that I was working about styling a lot right now, where it was really super customized. Like it wasn't a web page really. It was just a UI that happened to be on the web. Like all the buttons are round. There's no scrolling or anything like that. It was very focused around a couple specific tasks, and things were positioned very weird ways all over the place. So I mean, I would just basically identify the areas that like a grouping of controls that just logical grouping, and then position absolute that container for it, and then use VW and VH units to position it. And that means like as my display grows and shrinks, it actually stays it proportionally to the viewport stays in the correct space.
Nice, very cool.
Yeah.
I gotta try that.
Yeah, VW and VH is very nice. I'm trying to remember what this. Let me see. Can I use support for it? It was very good last time I checked.
Yeah, I threw up a Can I Use link to it. The day I discovered Can I Use was like life changing.
Yeah. So I mean, it's partial in IE, I guess, but like.
Yeah, they're just complaining about the VMAX thing.
Which is
like
something I've never used VMAX, honestly. Yeah. Other than that, I will say this is something I, by the way, discovered, and I'm just going to complain about it real quick. Wait, did I do my Screw Samsung speech yet?
That sounds vaguely familiar, but it's probably worth saying again.
If Samsung on their Galaxy Tab tablet line, and probably elsewhere as well, even though you think you're on Chrome latest, you're not on Chrome latest.
Oh yeah.
It stops up. It's basically locked people into 43, which is like really old at this point, and then it won't update anymore, and it won't give you it won't even show you that there are further updates available. It's basically they hacked Android into very specifically limiting Chrome to only the ones that they want to allow.
So you can't even go on like a Play Store and get like competent Chrome?
You can go and get Chrome Beta. That's a completely separate app. But if you go into a Play Store and you go update Chrome, and so it'll say it's updated all the way to the latest. You're not. You're over a year old.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, and it's been a nightmare for me because I was basically testing on a device, and they're like, oh no, every single time we try it, it fails. It's like, you're on latest Chrome and so on. I finally had to get a copy of that exact device and be like, well, it's true, arrow functions don't work, but the Play Store says I'm on latest. What's going on? And eventually I had to get like an Android guy on the line who was like, oh yeah, I heard that Samsung does all sorts of crazy stuff behind the scenes. Like, that's the sort of stuff that they're doing. And so now not only do you have to like, and of course that's not advertised anywhere that they're on Chrome 43. So how exactly do you make applications that work for it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Native.
Yep.
Native or go home. Well, next week, wrapping up here, Mark will be joining us, and I want him to do a Xamarin stuff, but I said, you can talk about whatever you want, dude. And so we'll have there. And throwing out some more invites, see if we can get some other guest speakers involved, because I think it's good to have cyclical nature, that sometimes it's fun to talk shop like we do here, and sometimes it's good to bring in experts and knowledgeable people to further our minds, because I think what we see here is that you just get exposure to a lot of this stuff, which is awesome. Like things like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that, which is the point of the brown bag. Is in 1 hour you can get today I learned fast from lots of smart people. But yeah, anything else, George?
No, I think we're good till next week.
Yeah, was good. I had a lot of fun. One of the awesome brown bags, and then okay, I'll post the video, put some notes, and we're done. Thanks guys for joining, and thanks for sharing.
Awesome.
Okay.
Later.
Later.
Take it easy.